Have you ever wondered why some men seem to lose their spark earlier than others? Not just in the bedroom, but in their confidence, their relationships, even the way they walk into a room? The truth is, it's rarely about age alone. It's often about small habits, things men do or fail to do, without realizing they're quietly harming their most private health. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, and today I want to share with you 10 things you should never do to your penis. These aren't just warnings. They are vital truths every man deserves to know if he wants to stay strong, healthy, and sexually confident well into the future. Because when your erections change, it's not just about intimacy. It's your body whispering that something deeper is happening. First, never ignore your penis. I can't tell you how many men brush off early warning signs. The penis is like a smoke alarm. It often signals problems in circulation before the heart or brain do. Studies show men with erectile dysfunction are far more likely to have a heart attack within 7 years. Why? Because the blood vessels in the penis are the smallest, and they reveal trouble earliest. Strong erections are not just about sex. They mean your heart, hormones, nervous system, and mental health are in sync. If you notice changes, don't dismiss them. Pay attention because your body is asking you to listen. Second, don't fall for dangerous home remedies. I've seen everything. Apple cider vinegar rubbed for growth, plastic bottles turned into devices, men trying metal rings or rubber ties to force erections. Please don't do this. The damage can be permanent. Nerve injury, scarring, lifelong erectile dysfunction. Take jelqing, for example, the so-called stretching method. I've treated young men who tore their tissue and never recovered. Some even needed surgery. I've also seen men rush to the emergency room because they used bottle caps or nuts as constriction bands and couldn't remove them. Some needed power tools just to get them off. If you ever use a constriction ring, make sure it's medically designed and easy to release. Your body isn't something to experiment on. Third, hygiene matters more than most men realize, especially if you're uncircumcised. Foreskin needs to be gently retracted, cleaned, and dried. Otherwise, smegma builds up, a mix of skin cells and bacteria that leads to infections, inflammation, and even adhesions. Poor hygiene is also linked to penile cancer, rare but devastating. But let me be clear, don't overdo it either. The skin here is delicate. Harsh soaps, scrubbing, or heavy fragrances can irritate and harm. Let warm water and mild soap run gently over, rinse well, and pat dry. Respect the balance. Fourth, don't ignore pain, bleeding, or changes. A lump, an ulcer, blood in the urine, pain during sex or urination. These are red flags. They can signal urinary tract infections, sexually transmitted diseases, kidney or bladder stones, even cancer. I know it's uncomfortable to bring these up, but silence is more dangerous. If a doctor makes you feel judged, find a better one. Your body deserves care without shame. And fifth, be safe and controlled during sex. Confidence isn't just about performance, it's about safety. Penile fractures are real and they're emergencies. If an erect penis bends sharply, the tissue can rupture. You'll hear a pop, feel searing pain, and swelling begins immediately. We call it eggplant deformity, and it requires urgent surgery. Delay too long, and permanent dysfunction can follow. The good news is prevention is simple. Use lubricant generously. Understand that dryness is not always lack of arousal. It can be hormones, stress, or medications. Lube makes intimacy safer for both partners. Protect yourself and protect your future. Sixth, never overheat your testicles. There's a reason nature designed them to sit outside your body. They need to be cooler than your core to produce healthy sperm and testosterone. Yet many men unknowingly suffocate them in layers of heat. Long hours in hot tubs, daily saunas, resting a laptop directly across your thighs, or tucking a phone in your front pocket, all of these slowly raise the temperature, and when heat lingers, sperm quality drops, testosterone falters, and energy wanes. I've spoken with countless men who came in exhausted, foggy, and struggling with intimacy. When we looked closer, their habits revealed hours of unnecessary heat exposure every week. Once they made small changes, keeping laptops on desks, slipping phones into jacket pockets, limiting hot soaks, their vitality began to return. Protecting your hormones doesn't always require medication. Sometimes it requires nothing more than letting your body breathe. 7th, be gentle when you masturbate. For many men, especially after decades of routine, the hand becomes too tight, the pressure too aggressive. At first, it feels satisfying, even necessary, but over time, your body adapts in the worst way. Nerve endings grow less sensitive. Erections become harder to maintain. Some men notice they can climax alone, but struggle with a partner. That's the death grip. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nerves need retraining. Slow down. Use lubrication to reduce friction. Experiment with lighter touch, different rhythms, even taking breaks to breathe and reset. Your body is capable of responding again, but only if you teach it patience. Remember, intimacy was never meant to be a race. It was meant to be felt. 8th, don't smoke, and treat your body as though every cigarette is stealing blood from your penis, because it is. Smoking is one of the fastest ways to destroy circulation. The chemicals inside stiffen blood vessels, and the penis, with its fine arteries, is the first to suffer. Beyond that, smoking raises the risk of bladder cancer, one of the most aggressive cancers I've ever had to treat. And yet, every man who's quit has told me the same thing. I didn't know how much better life could feel until I stopped. Better erections, more stamina, sharper mornings. Quitting isn't easy, but neither is living with silence in the part of your body that once gave you joy. Exercise, fresh foods, and sleep also matter. Aerobic activity like walking or cycling helps blood flow. Resistance training boosts testosterone. Managing stress protects your nervous system. All of these together build the foundation for sexual health. Pills cannot replace them. They are the roots of vitality. 9th, be kind to yourself. This may be the most overlooked truth of all. Men are taught to measure their worth by performance, to judge their masculinity by what happens or doesn't happen between the sheets. But your body is not a machine. It has rhythms, moods, and off days, and when you punish yourself with shame, you make the problem worse. Anxiety floods your nervous system. Blood vessels constrict. Erections weaken even more. I've seen men spiral for months, sometimes years, because of 1 or 2 disappointing nights. Stop the cycle. Breathe. Remind yourself that intimacy is not a test. It's a connection. When you stumble, it doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you human. And if the pressure feels too heavy, speak to a friend, a partner, or a doctor. Silence is the soil where shame grows. Honesty is the light that breaks it down. And 10th, use it or lose it. This is not just a saying, it's biology. Erections are not random luxuries. They are maintenance. Each one sends oxygen-rich blood into tissues that need it to survive. Without that flow, tissue hardens, scar tissue develops, and sensitivity declines. Men who stop experiencing erections, whether from stress, lack of intimacy, or giving up entirely, begin to lose not just performance, but physical function. Nighttime erections are your body's way of preserving health. When they vanish completely, it's often a sign that circulation or hormones are struggling. Don't wait until everything goes quiet. Even occasional arousal, whether with a partner or alone, helps preserve function. Think of it as exercise for your most intimate muscles and vessels. Just as your legs weaken without walking, your penis falters without blood flow. Give it the oxygen it deserves. I've had older patients tell me they thought their bodies were finished. Then, by reintroducing gentle, consistent intimacy, even once or twice a week, they began to feel alive again. Erections returned, energy improved, confidence rose. It wasn't about chasing youth. It was about protecting the system nature designed for them. Keep your body active and engaged, because neglect slowly erodes what time has already tested. Every ounce of vitality matters now more than ever. So here's the truth, the part most men never hear until it's almost too late. Your penis is not separate from the rest of your body. It's the early warning system, the canary in the coal mine. When it changes, it's often because your heart, your circulation, your hormones, or even your mental health are already shifting. Ignoring it doesn't just cost you pleasure, it costs you time you could have used to prevent deeper problems. Each of the 10 mistakes we've walked through today may look different, but they share one root cause: neglect. Neglect of awareness, neglect of care, neglect of connection. Think about it. When you ignore discomfort, you give small problems room to grow into dangerous ones. When you chase reckless remedies, you injure the very tissues that make intimacy possible. When you neglect hygiene, you invite infections that can scar you for life. When you dismiss pain or bleeding, you gamble with diseases that could have been caught early. When you treat sex like a race or forget safety, you risk injuries that can take away your confidence forever. When you suffocate your hormones with heat, you drain the very energy that fuels your manhood. Excessive pressure, smoking, or self-criticism all sever the connection with your body's signals. And when you stop using it at all, you begin to lose it. Slowly, quietly, but undeniably. But here's the part I want you to hold on to. None of this is irreversible if you start now. I've seen men in their 60s and 70s walk into my office broken, convinced they had no options left. Yet when they took small, consistent steps, loosening their grip, eating better, walking daily, talking openly, being kinder to themselves, their bodies responded. Erections returned, energy brightened, relationships softened and deepened. It wasn't magic, it wasn't a pill. It was attention. Attention is the most powerful medicine. Let me share a moment I'll never forget. A man named David, 71, came to see me after years of silence. He hadn't been intimate with his wife in nearly a decade. He was embarrassed, angry, and convinced she no longer cared. But what struck me most was the way he spoke about himself. He said, "Doc, I feel invisible, like a shadow in my own home." We started simple. I asked him to walk every morning, to stop carrying his phone in his front pocket, to use a little lubricant when he touched himself, and most importantly, to stop judging his body. 3 months later, he sat in my office with tears in his eyes and said, "I didn't just get erections back, I got myself back." That's the power of reconnecting with your body. It changes not just the bedroom, but the way you see yourself in the mirror, the way you walk into a room, the way you feel alive again. And yes, there are tools to support you. Natural supplements like L-citrulline from watermelon help your blood vessels open and circulate better. They aren't magic, but they give your body what it needs to work naturally. Healthy foods, from tomatoes to nuts to berries, protect your arteries. Exercise strengthens your muscles and boosts testosterone. Sleep repairs your nervous system. Stress management keeps hormones balanced. These are not luxuries. They are the daily investments that determine whether you thrive or decline. I want you to remember this. Your sexual health is not just about intimacy. It reflects your confidence, vitality, and overall well-being. When you respect it, you are respecting your heart, your brain, your relationships, and your future. When you neglect it, you risk losing far more than intimacy. So protect it, use it, respect it. You deserve to feel alive in your body, not just as a memory of who you once were, but as a living, fire-breathing man who still has chapters left to write. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, and my mission is simple: to help men like you feel informed, confident, and empowered at every stage of life. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a brother, a friend, or anyone who needs to hear that it is not too late. Leave a comment below so I know what resonated most with you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation we'll have together. And above all, remember this: your body is worth your attention, your care, and your love. You are worth it.